Record. Oh, I hit record and was saying record, so, like, now there's a whole conversation about me saying record at the beginning of this.
You want to leave it there?
I am. Unless you want me to.
I don't care.
Start over. Okay. They have to be used to it by now, honestly.
I'm just thinking about this meat.
Well, we know how you like to think about meat.
Yeah.
Guys, you're listening to the Feather and Bone podcast. Obviously, two witches talking about everything witchy and nothing at all. And apparently, Rain's love of meat.
Meat.
Meat. Because you're doing this whole, like watching your carbs now.
Mm-hmm. Carbs are my enemy.
They really are. Like, it's been proven by a doctor now. Like, it's like you were basically a carbitarian.
Yeah.
Before you decided to switch up. And it's not that you're doing Atkins. Like,
no.
you're trying to focus on things that's going to keep you more full. Like protein and fiber.
Yeah, he told me to try to keep it under 40 carbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's worked.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, that's...
Like, it worked quick.
Yeah, very quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's going to... And we were going to, like, record these podcasts in a different order. And she knows, like, for this one, she's not going to have to talk as much.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, I'm chewing on steak, so you
I'm
might...
eating meat.
Yeah, you might want to do the other one first. So that's what we're going to do.
I showed up with a handful of meat.
Yeah.
At your house.
Now, guys, obviously, the dog is in the crate, so you're probably going to hear her moving around on the plastic bottom. I would put something in there to make her comfortable, but she chews it and rips it to shreds, and I'm terrified that she's going to be bored and just eat it, and then I'd have to pay a medical bill, like a vet bill, to have, like, whatever it is impacted taken out, so... But today, this is actually going to cover a couple different things, and we're going to talk about ritual and how it can be used to help with anxiety. And now she's eating string cheese.
You told me to.
Hey, it's good protein and not that many carbs.
It's only one carb.
There you go. You guys, you shake your flaccid cheese at me. So I found an article and guys, if I'm horrible with names, but here we go. His name is Manny Tejada Marino, something like that. But it's on the wildhunt.org. If you've never been on that website, like, go check it out. They have a lot of really cool stuff. But this is that research suggests ritual relieves anxiety.
You know what else relieves anxiety?
Orgasms.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, if you've tried everything else, is she sniffing your vapor
like
pen?
Her face is touching it, like she's rubbing her nose on it.
She's like, I like nicotine. If you've tried everything else, like you've tried saging, you've tried meditation, like...
Go rub one out!
Yeah, just go fucking have an orgasm and you'll feel better. It releases endorphins and shit. But anxiety is the body's natural emotional response to stress. But it can also become debilitating when worry and fear never subside. Recent psychological research now suggests that ritual can offer relief. Now, like, because you've been pretty open about having an anxiety issue, and it's like there's no, like I said, yeah, that's the body's response to, like, stress and everything, but, like,
with anxiety, you don't know what's causing it.
Yeah, there's nothing that is that you can point to and try to fix and change.
Like, you don't know what you're anxious about.
Yeah. Actually, I think your husband even one time was like, why are you so anxious? And you're like, if I knew, I would not have a disorder. and I could, like he felt pretty, like, stupid at that point, because he's like, well, accurate.
Because he's a medical person.
Almost a century ago, social theorist and anthropologist, oh my gosh, Bronislaw Malowinski suggested that rituals are inherently associated with anxiety-inducing events and situations. He hypothesized Hypothesized. Why couldn't I get that out?
It was like me this morning. What was I trying to say?
Oh, what was that?
Oh.
I made fun of you.
Yes,
and now I can't remember. Oh, I forget. You'll remember later, because like he answered you, and he used the word that you couldn't. Like we didn't even know he was listening.
Yeah, he used it the fucked up way where I couldn't pronounce it.
Yeah.
God damn it, that was funny too.
But he hypothesized that magico-religious rituals, and I had a feeling that you might ask me what magico-religious rituals.
I was just thinking that.
We've been friends for so long that I can anticipate. So I looked that shit up. Magico-religious means like belonging to or having the character of a body of magical practices intended to cause a supernatural being to produce a prevalent or produce or prevent a specific result. So a good example with that would be like rain dancing.
I'm glad you went in to explain what the fuck the explanation was.
Yeah, because I know you.
I was being like, what?
So it's like rain dancing or sacrificing something for the crops. So like that's what they mean by like magico-religious rituals. Okay. But these magico-religious rituals emerged as emotional responses to achieve a desired goal that ultimately alleviates anxiety, particularly when groups or individuals were confronting uncontrollable events. So, like, if you want to, so your crops are not doing well, and it's a time when, you surviving the winter depends on your crops. So your crops aren't doing well. That's a pretty anxiety-inducing thing. Like, you're going to start worrying and wondering how you're going to make it through the winter. So people would then perform these rituals.
Mm-hmm.
So that is an example of how the anxiety... Now, whether or not the rituals actually caused the universe to provide the rain for the crops or anything like that. Like of course, law of attraction.
Yeah.
We're not saying there's some big, fluffy God in the sky who was like, I was not sending rain before. My bad.
I was waiting on him to dance for it.
Yeah. But that ritual, whether it has the effect that they're looking for or not, would serve to help the anxiety. So, an example of this premise would be that a ritual behavior emerges because of fears of a storm, an event that cannot be controlled. So I used the example crops. He used storms. But the individual or group can construct a ritual that imagines the storms passing. Regardless of the magical properties of such a ritual, the perception that action can bring an uncontrollable event under control can reduce anxiety about the event. Previous research on rituals... I don't know why I couldn't. Research on rituals. I couldn't get it to come out.
I'm sitting here in deep thought, concentrating on what you're saying.
And I'm over here research on rituals. You're like, wait a minute. Am I actually going to learn something in this podcast?
I'm actually trying to pay attention.
Previous research on rituals has looked at their effectiveness on ritual being able to help individuals take control of events. In 2010, research by... And I don't know why. I get it that when you do these articles, you put, your sources at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But just reading through it, if you're not going to go look and see what the sources are, it doesn't really make a lot of sense just to have people's names.
I agree.
But in 2010, research by Damage... What? That show?
Yes.
Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, we need to. It's cursed. Netflix was playing when she got here, so it's on pause. So now, the screensaver that shows the different stuff, and this show called Cursed popped up, and she was distracted for a minute. But in 2010, research by Damage, Strobrook, and Muswiller reported, and you guys know that's probably all wrong. If you want to know, if you want to find the actual sources for this stuff, again, go to wildhunt.org. But they reported results on a set of fascinating experiments where participants attempted 10 golf putts from a 1 meter distance. Some participants, those in the primed group, he has primed in parentheses, so I was doing that with my fingers. In the primed group, The group exposed to the suggestion were told, "Here is the ball. So far, it has turned out to be a very lucky ball." So that's the control group was told that. And they were like, this is the ball that everyone has used so far. It's a lucky ball. So obviously, like, the people in the other group, no, the control group was, anyway, one group was told.
You're like, stop paying attention. You're stressing me out.
Fucking me up.
I'm looking right at you.
Yeah, you're like, tell me more. So the other group, they hadn't been told anything. They were just like, here's your ball, go play golf. And of course, the two different groups were blind to the differences between what was told one and what was told to the other. Mm-hmm. Participants in the control group made 48% of the putts, but participants in the primed group, the one that was told, hey, this is an awesome ball, they actually made 65% of the putts. So, like, that result is kind of significant. Like, people who were told, like, this ball is amazing, they made 68
I've seen
or
some
65.
amazing balls in my life.
How balls are ugly.
No, I've seen some nice.
You seen some nice balls?
Yeah.
How often in your life have you seen? I bet you could count on one hand. Is it one?
Yes.
Okay. Now wait a minute. One set of balls or one ball?
Well, it wasn't a uniball.
Okay.
It was one set.
One set of balls.
Both were present in the
Okay.
sack.
Okay. So you're like, no, I've seen some nice balls. And I'm like, wait a minute. And you're like, well, actually, it was just one. Here she is in the kitten's bed again.
I saw that.
It's not big enough for them.
That's cute.
But they're like, no, we want it. But anyway, the group that was like, here's just a ball, go have fun, they only made 48% of the putts. Both groups being equal, the only difference that could account for the advantage was putting, that lucky statement on the ball. Their original experiment has been difficult to replicate, raising questions about the findings. Because that's what, when you're talking about studies, you have to look at the validity of the study. And if it can't be reproduced over and over and over, then, like, is that really a reliable study?
I don't know if this relates.
It could be an outlier.
I have something to add.
Oh, go ahead.
But I don't know how closely it relates.
Well, I think people kind of expect you to relate things that are not close.
Well, remember, we had that complaint.
Well, you know what? This is our podcast.
Okay.
And I don't care if we have one person who listens. As long as they enjoy it, I don't fucking care.
Well, I watched, I'm real big into energy work and energy healing and all that.
You're like a guru.
Well, it was over in another country. Clearly, they wouldn't let us do that here because it would cost the pharmaceutical industry billions,
Yeah.
billions, trillions. But anyway, this lady, she had a cancerous tumor in her abdomen. And she was in the hospital on the bed, and they had an ultrasound thing on the tumor so you could see it on the screen. And this group of these, some type of spiritual group, I want to say monks, I think it was monks, came in and chanted over her. And the basis of their chant was they were thanking the universe for the tumor being removed. Like,
okay.
they were chanting as if it was already gone, and they were giving thanks. And you watched on the video, this tumor just shrink down.
Hey.
And it fucking disappeared. So I think that goes along with...
ritual, yeah.
And how you speak when you do it. Taking all the doubt out of it and things like that. It really does affect people's anxiety levels.
Yeah, and you...
I contributed!
You did. And, don't even get me started on insurance right now because, like, I'm not going to go into a long spiel of it, but, like, my niece is pretty sick. And I mean, they are waiting on, like, test results and stuff, too. But, like, they have to get the insurance approval for life-saving measures.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
And, like, so I don't want to get started on that right now because, like, I literally will lose my mind. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of, Eastern medicinal practices that could really benefit people.
Yep.
And we don't do it here in the States because it's not doctors who drive our medical field. It's insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies.
There was a doctor over in the Southwest. He was curing people of their cancer, doing what I have talk to you about where you make your blood more alkaline instead of acidic, because then the cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment.
Right.
And he was curing people. The government took him to court 6 times trying to take the patent he had and make it their own. And he ended up, he kept having death threats and all kinds of shit. He had to move his practice down to South America.
Yeah.
Because he was afraid he was going to get killed.
It's ridiculous. And like even oncologists will talk about the diets that can help, and then the oncologists are like, we can't tell you that this is going to cure you, but it's not going to hurt you. you know,
it's like that guy that my husband's friend that found out he had cancer, and it was pretty far along when he found out he had it. Dude was scared to death, and I told Ken to tell him to go vegan and get his blood alkaline, and the cancer will die. And he goes to his doctor, and he's like, well, what about doing an alkaline diet? And the doctor goes, well, it works, but there's no proof. And he goes, what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Like,
he switched doctors.
Yeah.
And so he went down, what's the big cancer center?
Cancer Centers of America?
It might have been.
Yeah.
But it was in like Virginia or something. And he went down there, and the first thing they said to him was, if you will not change your diet to be more alkaline, we will not treat you, because we can't get rid of your cancer unless you do that. I'm like, see?
Yeah. So it's like, why are you paying these cancer centers all this extra money? And they're like technically, we're not treating you. We're just going to be the ones that tell you what to eat. So anyway. So if you, of course, this article, I don't know when it was written, but it says like in 2013, Norton and Gino, and again, and it's like,
that sounds like a Nickelodeon cartoon.
I know.
Norton and Gino.
Norton and Gino. What are they up to this week? And that's what I hate about like these articles. Like when I would write papers, like I would always say like in the study, blah blah blah, by blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Because like it makes no sense to me just to be like, okay, well, who the fuck's Norton and Gino? You know, but anyway.
Now I want to know.
Yeah. Well, you need to go to wildhunt.org and look it up.
That name combination is just funny.
So in 2013, Norton and Gino reported the results of a series of experiments to examine how ritual can help regain feelings of control during periods of loss. In one experiment, participants were asked about either a relationship ending or a death. They were then asked, please describe this event in detail. What was it like to be in this situation? What thoughts and feelings did you experience? Participants in the ritual condition were then further asked, please describe a ritual you engaged in after you experienced the loss. Example would be like, you stopped going to a place that was meaningful to your relationship, or you stopped wearing clothes that he or she liked, just like little things like that.
Yeah.
And, please provide a detailed description. All participants completed a measure of perceived control and grief. The participants who reported a ritual action also reported reduced grief and less lack of control. So, so that study was showing that, like, if the people who dealt with their grief by having some type of ritual, whether it's like, taking the time to go through their possessions and box up their possessions and get them out of the home, or taking flowers to their grave on a certain day every week or something like that. They dealt with their loss and their grief better than people who didn't do anything. So that kind of shows that ritual helped with the anxiety of losing someone. In another experiment, individuals received $15 for participating in an experiment that involved the possible winning of an additional $200. Participants thought,
I wouldn't want to go through the trouble for possibly winning $200.
Well, I think it depends, because here's the thing on that.
Was it like,
how easy is it to get the $15? Like, what were you going to have to do for it? Like, if all you had to do was show up and sign a piece of paper and get $15 and it wasn't like real far, that would be worth it.
Like at my neighbor's house close?
Yeah.
You know me.
Well, but you know me too. Like, I'm all about that.
Oh, you'd be all over it.
Like when you get those flyers in the mail from like the car lots, and they're like, everybody's guaranteed to get something, and like the very least you get was like a $10 card to Walmart. I go get it.
Guys, she made me go with her.
I do.
to claim a prize from a car lot that she got off a scratch-off mail thing.
Yeah.
And we had to stand in line.
I hate. It was a Walmart gift card for $10. And the event was happening in the Walmart parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, then we took my $10, went to Walmart, and I bought some shit, you know. I was raised very poor. and when there's an opportunity that's not, and like, because I was living kind of closer to Fayetteville at that point. I think I might actually even been in Fayetteville at that time.
Yeah.
So, like, it wasn't like I was going far out of my way, and I was going to go to Walmart and buy stuff anyway. So why not stand in line for 10 minutes, get $10, and have $10 off my grocery bill? That's how my brain works.
Yeah. If it would have been something where I could have scratched it off, mailed it to them, and they mailed me back my gift card, I'd
See, you're a whole new level of lazy. Like, when it comes to money. Like, you really are.
Like, I can't hold still. I'm like a bunny rabbit. I'm always exercising.
Yeah.
But when it comes to anything that involves other people, like going out of the
Yeah.
house, I'm like, no.
Well, and like I told you, like, at the very minimum, I'm going to walk away from this with $10. But what if I won one of the bigger prizes?
We were like, I hope you win a car.
Yeah. It's like, well, I can't pay the taxes on it, because you have to pay the taxes when you win a car. And then, like, when they're having like the community food bank that's not for poor people, it's like just literally anyone in the community can come get some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to those. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, I want to have money for other things. So anyway.
She's bougie, guys.
We digress. I digressed there a little bit. But in another experiment... Oh, that's the $15 one. So they were given $15 to show up, and then they would have the chance of winning an additional $200. Participants thought that the experiment was about a lottery, but it was actually about how ritual helps mitigate feelings of defeat and grief. Before beginning the lottery experiment, participants were asked about their belief in rituals, and then asked to participate in one involving using some words, salt, and paper to limit feelings of loss. As expected, the participants who partook in the ritual reported feeling less grief regardless of whether they believed in the ritual. So they were like, we're going to do this little thing, and like, hello, witchcraft, like,
yeah,
salt and paper and doing, you know. But they walked away feeling not as defeated because they didn't get the $200. So, you know, those are examples of how research that points to the act of, you know, ritual being able to change our response to things. Previous research has also found that ritual helps with negative emotions and worry. Sosis and hand worker in 2007 had reported. Sosis
hand worker,
hand, and it's WERKER worker.
Okay.
Hand worker had reported that Israeli women who recited psalms during threats of missile attacks experienced less anxiety than Israeli women who did not engage in any similar practice. So just being able to chant that helped them get through the trauma of being fucking bombed, of all the places to live, to be an innocent person, you know?
Yeah.
Now, okay, so the only name that I can pronounce in these next three people is Lang. Okay. It looks like Kratiky, and then Zygelets. I don't know. They reported in Psychological Transactions of the Royal Society. I don't know what that is. I guess it's a paper or something. The results of a controlled experiment looking specifically at the benefits of ritual on anxiety control. The experiment involved asking participants in the, oh gosh.
Okay. I gotta get it. I just got a picture of her looking at her
Mauritius?
asshole.
Thanks. I can't pronounce this country. It's an island country off of East Africa.
Okay.
But everyone on the island is Hindu. And they had asked those individuals to prepare a plan for a natural disaster like a cyclone or a flood. Mm-hmm. They would then present a plan in a speech to experts who would evaluate them. This is referred to as an anxiety-provoking task. So they're being said like, okay, we want you first of all to come up with a plan for a natural disaster, but then you're going to have to present your plan to people of some sort of authority. And that would get them like feeling, anxious. Mm-hmm. The participants were also wore technology to measure their physiological indicators of stress and anxiety, like heart rate, that kind of stuff, to see if in fact that they were experiencing anxiety through this experiment. Mm-hmm. And to me, so far, this is the only experiment that I think actually has some teeth behind it, because they were actually monitoring stress. Everyone else was just verbally reporting their stress.
I need a lipstick that matches your lip color.
This is just au naturel.
But like, that's the color I like, and it looks great on me.
You're like, your lips look fantastic.
I need to take you with me.
And be like, I want her lips. And they'd be like, well, man, what color do you wear? It's natural, bitch. Anyway. But then the group was randomly assigned to two different conditions. There was a ritual group and then the control group. The ritual group was invited to visit a room where they had materials available to them for ritual and then like offerings such as incense, fruit, whatever. The control group. I
like that. Controlled droop.
Controlled droop. That's the situation I have with my titties.
It's controlled.
Yeah.
That's why we wear our bra.
Well, and I've started, like, I'm going to have to wear, because normally when I'm home, I don't wear a bra. I'd let them go free as they were intended in the wild,
I can do that some depending on the shirt.
Well, but
certain shirts will make, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it's like,
I'll get sore and it'll start to hurt.
What I've noticed is like, as I've lost weight, they're drooping a lot more than normal, because I've lost weight out of them, but they still are stretched out from being huge,
We'll just get you a boob job when we're rich.
Well, we'll do that, but in the meantime, I've bought some leisure bras just to wear around the house.
Are they comfortable?
They are. Like, I could sleep in it.
Huh.
Yeah. My other ones are just like fucking under wire and pushing together and up and like bands, and it's like there's
industrial strength.
Yeah. So anyway, but the other group, the control group, they were just kind of been like, just go over here and sit for 11 minutes. They had not been given ritual tools. The results suggested that the participants in the control group were more relaxed at baseline, but by the end of the task, the group that performed the ritual fared better on all their indicators of physiological and psychological stress. So just being able, like, they're like, okay, before I go and present this, I'm going to do an offering. I'm going to have a prayer. I'm going to light some incense. They did a lot better during their presentation than the others.
I sent my mom a picture of your cat licking her asshole.
Thanks.
My mom's like, lovely.
You should tell your mom you finally gave me my birthday
so
present.
She just asked me.
Okay. The benefits of ritual are well known to pagan practitioners. As Reverend Selena Fox wrote, through ritual, pagans deepen their relationship with the divine in one or more sacred forms. Through rituals, pagan culture flourishes and evolves. Selena Fox, like, I think I've
heard that name.
Yeah. Oh, she's big. Like, she's huge in the pagan community. Like, she's got books and she does online stuff. I mean, like, she's pretty big. Like prayer, rituals serve as a source of reflection. They help us better understand the present moment and our place in the web of relationships around us. They also help us understand the actions we must take to develop ourselves personally and spiritually. While more research is certainly needed, psychology may now be affirming some of those benefits as a means to manage anxiety. So, I mean, like, because I thought it would be neat, because, ritual is a huge part of any pagan practice, doing the same things. Now, like, having a ritual and casting a spell are two different things.
Yeah.
Just casting a spell, you go over, if you want to throw up your circle, do your shit, and you're done. Rituals tend to be things that you're going to do the same, maybe every single time. It's like going through the long process of calling the quarters, casting the circle, consecrating the altar, like, that ritual, and doing that every time, it allows you to get into a mind space.
Well, what really does it for me is repeating the spell.
Yeah.
In, like, out loud over and over and over, and clapping my hands while I do it, or banging on my little drum while I do it.
Yeah.
You feel the energy in the room like crazy.
Yeah.
It really raises things. I don't know. It gives you peace of mind. Like, you feel like...
Yeah, because it's allowing you,
Mm-hmm.
Even if the spell you're doing every time is different,
Mm-hmm.
the things that you do before, during, and after are the same.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I always think it's really neat when, people outside of this faith look seriously at the things that we do as being, like, legit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I thought that was a good article. And then, like, another one that I found, and I thought that we would go ahead and just kind of include both, because they're kind of connected. I want to see where we're at on time. I didn't think that we would get a full hour out of the first one, so I added another one.
Did we?
Yeah, no, 30 minutes.
That's it?
Yeah, we've been doing this for so long that it's almost like I can kind of guess how much, what kind of mileage we're going to get out of a topic. But I found another one, and this one was on abc.net.
Well, hang on. I got something else to say.
Okay.
I was going to say,
Wait a minute.
I'm sitting here picking the steak out of my teeth.
Yeah.
Like,
I have some of those, like, flosser pick
I thought I had floss in my purse. I've dropped the ball, because usually I have it. Anyway, like, when we were practicing Wiccans, which we are not now, we were taught that every time you were doing a spell,
mm-hmm.
if you were chanting or anything like that, it needed to be done in multiples of 3.
Yeah.
So, I don't follow that anymore. I sit there and do it until I feel the energy is at the point I want it to be.
Yeah.
And then I stop. Because honestly, how am I supposed to put my all into it and really be in that mind space if I'm trying to fucking count?
Yeah. Well, and then, like, there was the healing ritual that we would do when we were with that other group. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that ritual was badass if you just went through it once.
Yeah.
But, like, there was parts of it that we were doing, like, 6 fucking times or something?
You would read the whole thing, like, 12 times, I think.
I mean, it was ridiculous.
And it was long.
Yeah. It was very, very long. And, like, literally when we were done...
We'd be exhausted.
I would have to sit down immediately.
I'd be sweaty.
Yeah.
I'd feel dizzy.
So, I mean, it really did bring the energy up. But my thing is, like, at a certain point, you're not focusing on your intent anymore. You're focusing on getting through and being done so you can sit down.
My problem was my back.
Yeah.
Something about certain floors will really hurt my back.
Yeah.
And something about the
your scoliosis.
My scoliosis. And standing in that room where we would always do the healing ritual, it was murder on my back. And the whole time I would be miserable and just thinking, oh my God, I just want to sit down. So I never felt like I was able to contribute anything to the people we were doing all those candles for.
Because, I have arthritis in my back as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in, like, the position of your body during that ritual, like, they wanted one hand over what you were doing and they wanted one hand behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already kind of twisted a little bit. And you're having to hold one hand up over and out over a table for an extended period of time. And I mean, it wasn't, so, like, that ritual made me more anxious.
I didn't enjoy it. I think it is a badass thing. I still have my copy of it.
I do too.
but I would have to do it sitting down.
See, and I think that, like, even just running through it once would be enough.
I do too.
I really think it would be, but it's like 12 times is ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure it was 12.
Yeah. I thought it was 6, but I mean...
It might be 6. You could be right.
So maybe we'll split the difference and say 9.
It was so... For me, I wasn't able to enjoy it and feel like I contributed anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, like... So, you know, you got to look... I thought this article was nice because it does look at ritual as a way of being able to change things. Now, they were focusing it on anxiety. And it's like they're just now starting to kind of clue in to what we have known, you know, all along, that like these rituals, these things that we do can affect a change in our lives, whether it's your anxiety or, you know, your financial situation, your health, you know, your protection, vengeance. Okay, next topic. I found this one on abc.net. I don't know if it's like ABC, like the news ABC. I'm not sure, but it's called "Chanting is an Ancient Practice with Mental Health Effects That Might Apply to Our Busy Lives." Talk about a title. It's by Amy Fallon. Thanks, Amy, for having a name I can pronounce. But she does talk about some random person that I don't know who the fuck it is. But because she starts off the article by saying, the first time... now, how would you say this name? Gemma. Gemma. The first time Gemma Perry tried chanting, she had no idea what to expect. So I don't know who Gemma is.
She was on Sons of Anarchy. She was the mom.
Is it,
it was Peggy Bundy.
Peg Bundy?
Yeah.
Okay, Peg Bundy.
Yeah.
All right.
Everybody's listening is going, that's not accurate. But her name on the show was Gemma.
Oh. I thought that Gemma Perry was the actress.
No, her name is Katie Seagal.
You're so confused right now. So it's not Peg Bundy.
No.
Okay. Well,
you're like, Jesus Christ.
Whoever this woman is, Miss Perry, she had no idea what to expect. She said that she was at a yoga studio and everyone was chanting a particular phrase 108 times. And I didn't know what was going on, she says. But Perry, who was suffering from severe depression, says she found chanting to be so therapeutic, she tried it again the following week. A decade on, she's undertaking a PhD to try to uncover the science, uncover if science can explain it. Despite having been practiced for thousands of years by almost every culture in the world, many consider chanting to have only spiritual advantages. So she's going to try to connect it to like other things. She's talking about like the physiological and psychological benefits, that chanting can have. Scientific studies have found that chanting can decrease stress. That's hard to say. Decrease stress. It stresses me out.
I keep staring at your lips. I'm like, what shade are her lips?
My lips were real sore for like 4 or 5 days, and I didn't understand. Like, they wasn't chapped.
Huh.
They wasn't like busted. Like it was just, they were just sore.
That's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, with my medical conditions, we'll get there one day.
Well, you know what I was going to say at first, but then I'm like, no, I know that's not going on. Can't even make a joke.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Nothing has passed these lips. Except for very unhealthy food choices. But we'll talk about that in the next podcast. Scientific studies have found that chanting can decrease... Why? I'm stressing out over decreasing stress. Okay. It can decrease stress, anxiety, and depressive symptoms, as well as increase positive mood, feelings of relaxation, and focused attention. It's possible that, regardless of the tradition or belief system involved in the chanting practice, chanting may have a physiological and psychological effect no matter what you're chanting. Why in the fuck can I say physiological?
It's because I'm here.
But I can't say some, like, just simple fucking...
It's because I'm here. If I wasn't sitting here, you'd be popping that out like crazy.
It boggles my mind.
It's me.
Of what my tongue decides to allow me to say and not say. Anyway, repetitive vocal chanting can have a direct effect on the parasympathetic nervous system.
Parasymptomatic? What's that?
I knew you were going to ask. I have it in parentheses.
I love it that you have my weird figured out.
Yeah.
Nobody else does.
You know, it's so weird. Like, when things pop up on Time Hop, and it reminds me that we have only been friends for, like, maybe, like, 4 years. Like, going on 5 years.
Yeah.
It has not been that long. But, like, the level that we know each other...
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird.
But I knew you would want to know what the parasympathetic...
I do.
Parasympathetic nervous system is one of 3 divisions of the autonomic nervous system, sometimes called the rest and digest system. The parasympathetic system conserves energy as it slows the heart rate, increases intestinal and gland activity, and relaxes sphincter muscles in the gastrointestinal tract.
Huh.
So she's saying...
So that could control heartburn problems like GERD and stuff, too.
She's saying that repetitive vocal chanting has a direct effect on that system.
You know, if your heart's beating too fast, if you bear down, like you're trying to poop or have a baby,
mm-hmm.
It stimulates your vagus nerve, and it lowers your heart rate.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey.
The joys of being married to my husband.
Right. Your husband is so smart, though.
I know.
Like, any medical question. Like, even, like, with my niece.
I know!
And it's like, I don't understand why this is happening. And, like, you and I are discussing it. And he kind of overhears you talk something medical. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, yeah, I know why that happens. And he's blah, 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 blah. And he's asking about, like fucking levels of blood. And we're just like, we don't know, dude.
He's like, what type of blood transfusion is it? This kind of
and we're like, it's like, dude, like, sometimes she gets platelets, sometimes it's actual blood. I don't know why.
He's like, is it the frozen kind?
Yeah. Jesus, is it coming from a virgin? Or is it, and it's like,
what is it your thing with the Himalayan virgin?
Yeah.
With the alpacas?
Anytime it takes a long time for me to get something that I think that I should be getting quicker, like in the mail or whatever, I'm like, it's being handmade by virgins in the Himalayas, and it's being sherpered down on the back of newborn llamas.
Like sacred newborn llamas.
Yeah. I'm kind of ridiculous. Like, I'm one of those people that, like, I want what I want.
I'm not a patient person.
Yeah, I'm not either. But anyway, she's saying that chanting can slow breathing and activate the vagus nerve.
Ah! See?
Yep.
Hot damn. Jennifer knew something.
It's of course, that nerve is the longest and most complex of the cranial nerves. The vagus nerve runs from the brain through the face and thorax to the abdomen.
It's your face nerve.
It is a mixed nerve that contains parasympathetic fibers. The nerve fibers of the parasympathetic nervous system are the cranial nerves, primarily the vagus nerve, and the lumbar spinal nerves. When stimulated, these nerves increase digestive secretions and reduce the heartbeat.
I look so smart
I
now.
know.
I don't even know how to react.
Your husband, like, has really taught you things. We still don't know scientifically if it matters what you chant or not, she says. Like, she said, like, scientifically we don't know if, like, there's better results from one chant to another. It's not like on the on South Park where there's the brown note. You've ever seen that episode, like, where there's, like, the one musical note, and it's called the brown note?
No!
Yeah, and, like, there's whole thing.
I thought I'd
and it's
seen
like,
all of them.
It's like when you hear it, like, you uncontrollably shit yourself.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So it's not like she can't pinpoint whether there's a certain chant that will make you have diarrhea. Like, she doesn't know that. But chanting can improve attention and lift mood. For her PhD, Perry is studying the psychological efforts of chanting from many diverse traditions, as well as the differences between styles of chanting, such as silent or vocal mantra repetition, done either individually or in groups. According to the results of a 2016 study by Perry, Professor Bill Thompson, and Dr. Vince Poltico, no, there's no C in there, Polito.
I don't know.
Anyway, they said that chanting the universal mantra for 10 minutes improved attention, contributed toward a positive mood, and increased feelings of social cohesion. The study found that a positive effect and care for others increased more following vocal chanting than silent.
I like chanting.
Yeah.
And you admittedly don't even really feel or see energy.
Mm-hmm.
And even you can tell a difference.
Yeah.
With chanting. So and you're not as sensitive to it as some people are.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that, like, really, because that group that we had been a part of,
mm-hmm.
one of the tests in order to, go on up a level, like in a video game where you level up, to go to a higher degree, was that you had to be able to tell them the boundaries of someone else's energy circle.
What?
Yeah. It was like you had to be able to tell them, like, the boundaries of the circle that someone...
Oh, like they cast a circle.
Yeah.
Now, where did you have to do this again?
BFC.
That's stupid.
I could pull the lessons up off
That's right.
the stolen lessons that I have. And,
that's not fair, because...
I can't feel energy.
Not everybody can.
Yeah. So anyway...
And how are they supposed to remember... When I cast a circle...
You're like, maybe I want it to be a triangle. Remember that episode?
Yeah. I want a rhombus.
Yeah.
No, but like, say, when you're casting a circle, you're in the moment. There is no way someone could walk up to me and say, show me the exact boundary line of your circle.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that.
Well, and we've even set the attention, like we forgot something, and we're like, I'm just going to push my circle just a little bit further out so I can get to what I need. Anyway. But they did find that there is a positive effect and care for others, that it would increase at following verbal chanting rather than silent. Another study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry in 2018 found that mantra repetition therapy, which involves silently repeating a spiritually related word or phrase selected by each individual, was effective in treating veterans diagnosed with military-related post-traumatic stress disorder.
Huh.
So, like, that's awesome, We
do need to do more for our veterans. So anything I hear about that's helping them.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm like, that's great.
That's pretty great. And it's just like the other article, like, I love when I see, like, the scientific community looking at things that we have been doing, like, since Gardner was like, hey, I want to fuck all these people. Well,
I even mentioned at the VA one time when I was there, I was like, hey, if anybody, any of your veteran patients would ever want me to come in and do free Reiki on them, let me know.
Yeah.
And no, they never got back with me, but...
They probably never told the veterans about it.
I know.
They probably never told them.
And I've done it on 3 veterans.
Yeah.
And they love it.
And I think it might be, like, just also an insurance thing.
True.
Like a liability thing for you to be not a practitioner and using their facilities. But anyway. A separate paper published in Federal Practitioner concluded that similar practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and yoga aided healthcare workers with small to moderate improvements in emotional exhaustion sense of personal accomplishment and life satisfaction. So I don't know if I really would have mentioned that study because it was like small to moderate.
Yeah.
You know. But if you think about it though, like healthcare like workers, they've got to be some pretty fucking stressed out people.
Yeah.
Do they have enough time? And then like you got to think most healthcare workers are going to be more scientifically minded.
Mm-hmm.
So did they believe that this thing that they were doing as part of this study was really going to help them? Like, did they give it a fair shot?
Mm-hmm.
So that's again, like I pick apart studies like crazy. Because you can make a study appear to be anything you want it to be.
If you actually look up what people get government grants to do studies on, it would make you sick.
Yeah.
You'd be like, this is what my tax dollars go to?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Other research has found that chanting increased cerebral blood flow in areas of the brain known to be associated with Alzheimer's patients, like the deterioration of the brain. So, I mean, like, tell me what chant that is, and I'll fucking start that now. That's scary. Like, in my job now, I work with people who have Alzheimer's, and it's like...
it's my stepdad's father died with it.
Yeah, I mean it's a scary thing to think. Like just we'll make a pact right now that if I get Alzheimer's, you just kill me. I gave you permission.
I'm not going to get it.
Ugh. Perry says ancient Egyptians believed chanting encouraged flooding of the Nile and would yield successful crops, while indigenous Australians used the practice to aid them in finding water and navigating land. Perry's research has taken her to Hare Krishna Hindu.
Hare Krishna!
There you go. And to different temples in Australia and abroad, where she also shared chanting practices with a high school and a big corporation in Sydney. So she's really, like, she's went everywhere. Like, she was really trying to, when she was doing her research, like, applying it to different groups. You're like, I don't know if I locked my car and you live in the ghetto.
In the ghetto. There's some Elvis songs that I really like.
Yeah. So sad about his grandson, though, killing himself.
You know, he probably didn't kill himself.
Oh.
He probably killed him.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm big on that.
Oh, me too. But anyway, we won't get into that.
That's like 5 other podcasts.
Yeah. Chanting combines music therapy with meditation and mindfulness. As a musician and avid music fan, Professor Thompson has benefited enormously from meditation, which he started aged 16 after spending 12 months of yoga training. Can you imagine, like, being 16 and doing 12 months of yoga training?
No.
Like, what's wrong with that kid?
I'd probably be healthier right now.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say a second ago, but I didn't want to interrupt more than...
You're like, but I'll do it now.
I'll do it now. I think that's one of the reasons I'm so unusually healthy. Is because I'm just like, no, I'm not going to have that problem.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you've known me, I'm like, no.
Yeah. We can't even begin to explain my medical issues because, like, they're just so fucking weird.
Like, when the doctor told me, they're like, your cholesterol's too high. We should try putting you on medicine. I'm like, no, I'll fix it.
Yeah.
She was so pissed when I did.
Well, I did that with one of my exams because, like, with PEIA, you have to have, like, that yearly exam, and, like, it can affect your, like, what you pay and shit, you know. And she's like, well, your blood pressure's kind of high, and I'm like, well, you go away, come back and take it again in like 5 minutes. And she's like, what? And I'm like, no, really, you just go away, come back. And I spent, she did, she left, and 5 minutes later she come back and it was where it needed to be. And she was like, what did you, and I was like, I told my body it was not going to have high blood pressure. Like, I sat there and I did, like, the breathing and you know, brought myself down. And
well, it's like mind over matter, man. Like with my daughter, but on the days before she would leave for school, and I would say, you're going to have an awesome day, she would always have an awesome day.
Yeah.
It's how you think.
Excuse me.
You shape your reality with your thoughts.
But she was just blown. She was like, I don't understand. And I'm like, well.
You're like, well, of course you wouldn't.
Yeah. Chanting is one example of how music can enhance well-being and quality of life, and an interesting one because it combines many elements of other music-based activity, but also includes meditation and mindfulness elements, which may add fuel to the power of music. Vocal group chanting provides more opportunity than silent chanting for deep connection with other people, and this might help to explain the enhanced impact on the drive to be helpful with others. I really would love to have like just a nice big group like chant. Like,
can I do it virtually?
You know, you're never wanting to. Well,
can I be there in spirit?
Well, because of COVID right now, we would have to do it virtually. He stresses that while chanting can bring opposite effect, a range of psychological and cognitive benefits, it will only work if people are genuinely interested in the practice and enjoy it. So, like, if you're setting, like your husband, if we had asked your husband to chant, like, he might do it because, like, there's all kinds of little pecker gnats in my house.
Is that what that was?
Yeah. It's been a problem since it...
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah. Ever since I moved in here, it doesn't matter what I do. Like, they're always around.
I blame your neighbors.
Yeah. But if we asked him to do it, like, he would not get any benefit from it. Because he'll think it's stupid.
Well, it's like I did, one of the veterans I did Reiki on, he 100% believed it. He loved it. He would feel a bajillion times better for like a while after I would do Reiki on. And so then, because he was getting it, he wanted his wife to try it. And she never really got anything out of it because she didn't really believe it.
In Buddhist belief systems, sound is considered to be sacred. Moreover, sound as communicated through music and poetry is thought to have the ability to cleanse the emotional energies of the body.
It can.
Mm-hmm. Finally, sound by way of speech is understood to be a doorway to the energetic dimensions.
Hold up.
Yes.
Each of your chakras is in tune with a different key of music.
Mm-hmm.
So listening to music in different keys actually clears your chakras.
You have a CD that you use when you do Reiki.
Now, the shitty music you like to listen to...
Thanks.
Probably does the opposite.
Just because you don't like my music doesn't mean that it's shitty. Okay?
Guys, she likes this depressing, emo, my life sucks, I just want to die in a bathtub music.
But then I have songs that are upbeat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is about death. There was one, and like I mean, it's like one of my newer ones, and it's like really like upbeat and has a nice like, you know, and you're listening to it, and like you realize like, wait a minute, he's talking about shooting himself in the head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. And then like there's this other one. I think is it called Possum King maybe?
Possum King?
I think it's called Possum. The song is called Possum King, and it's like from back in the 90s. And basically, it's like he's a killer, and he's like singing to the girl, like, you know, come walk around the lake with me, and like, I love that song.
That's creepy as fuck.
And then there's Breeze Blocks, and that song's like there's a line in that says like something about like he didn't want to let her go, so he held her down with soggy clothes and breeze blocks. So basically, he tied her to some cinder blocks and like threw her in a lake.
That's twisted.
And I'm listening to a true crime podcast right now.
Guys, there's something wrong with my friend.
I just like murder. I don't understand it. I just like it.
See,
I like crime shows.
When I see that kind of stuff, I'm not just like, oh, look, someone's murdered. I'm like, oh my God, their mother must be devastated. And like I go into all the feelings of it.
Yeah.
And the grief.
And I'm just like, he's leaving too much evidence behind. I'm listening to this podcast right now, and I forget what it's called, but they had just done one on the Night Stalker. And
what's that?
The fucking serial killer, the Night Stalker, like, they caught him in the 90s. He, like, stalked the night and killed people. He was basically, like, he said that Satan made him do everything.
Oh, well, naturally.
And he would, like, as he was, like, raping women and stuff, like, he would make them, like hail Satan and stuff. And,
you do that during normal sex practice.
Yeah.
Just teasing, guys. She's not laying there going, hail Satan.
Hail Satan. I don't believe in Satan.
Wouldn't it be fun? Okay. Next time you start dating again.
Yeah.
And you start having sex. Instead of during sex going, oh, God, you should start being like, oh, Lucifer.
Yeah. Oh, Beelzebub.
That would freak him
Yeah.
out.
But he, like, that guy, when he died, like, he had, like, got this, like, real bad cancer. But then he got so jaundiced that, like, he turned, like, green. Like, his body was green. So, but anyway, I don't know how we got on that topic. But back to the Buddhists. These three sacred acts come together to support the mantra, also known as a prayer or divine utterance. In chanting, sacred mantras are repeated rhythmically, in succession, out loud. Some describe mantra when you recite something, recitation, as an internal practice that needs not to have an audible sound, while chant is what we do when we practice aloud with others. Zen idea that chanting is not only for the benefit of oneself, but for the benefit of all beings. Mantras have the capacity to benefit those who are chanting them, as well as benefiting all living beings, since the energy of the sound moves outward into affinity. Chanting mantras helps to heal the body, protect the mind, and manifest human desires by connecting the person who is chanting with the divine.
Why are you so quiet?
Who?
Your face.
Who?
Your eyes got so big, like, what?
Who's quiet?
It sounded like you were talking quieter to me.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
And you scream, "Why are you so quiet?" I was like, "Don't get the dog moving, Jesus." the ability that chanting has to take those engaged in it to the innermost places within themselves is a theme for Vietnamese Buddhist Zen master. Oh, gosh.
I want to be a Zen master.
Thich.
Okay.
Nhat. Nhat.
Thick knot.
And then H-A-N-H.
Guys,
So
figure it out.
he established a number of communities around the world in which monks, nuns, and lay people practice Buddhism together. In his book, Chanting from the Heart, he describes in detail the day-to-day lives and rituals associated with the spiritual pursuit of mindfulness as practiced in his communities. When practitioners chant, they chant from the heart and are not performing for a deity or anyone else. He explains, these words and music have been composed to serve as Dharma instruments, helping us come back to the deepest place in ourselves, the place where we are most awake and alive. Chanting is often the most direct and immediate way to reconnect us with these places. He further states that practitioners are not carrying out a ritual and going through the motions of chanting while the mind wanders elsewhere.
Do you know what? This is going to sound so bizarre. Well,
How bizarre. I don't care. Every time in our friendship when the word bizarre comes up,
we sing the song.
we have to sing that song. I don't care where we are.
It happens.
It has to happen.
But this is going to make me sound like a really fucked up person. You won't be surprised by this.
Well, and I kind of like fucked upness.
Yeah.
So.
You know how people talk about practicing mindfulness
Mm-hmm.
all the time? Do you know that mindfulness actually stresses me out?
That doesn't surprise me.
I'm like, if I have to constantly try to be aware,
Yeah.
of how people feel and are affected by things.
Yeah.
And then I have to really try to watch more what I say and all that. My anxiety cannot handle that.
Like, you know, I think that, like, the whole the mindfulness thing.
Basically, they need to just call it, don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. Yeah. And you know, and I think that there's certain situations where you're going to have to be an asshole to people. And you have to just tell them, shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, that, you know, I'm sorry if this hurts your feelings. Mm-hmm. But you need to hear this. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's being mindful. By saying, I'm sorry, but you have to hear this.
Maybe that's why I'm such a good mom.
You have the weirdest, like, parenting practice.
But it works.
It really does work. I mean, you've got really good kids.
Like, I can walk up to my kids and say, you're being an asshole. And they don't get mad. They're like,
oh. Whoa, what?
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, like, well, Jesus Christ, Mom. Didn't realize being an asshole. Stop being an asshole now, Mom.
I don't understand my parenting, but it works.
And then, like, you'll tell your daughter to do something, like, maybe 3 or 4 times. Mm. And then, like, you walk in and you're like, if you don't do A right now, I'm going to shove A up your fucking asshole. And I don't know if she thinks that you really will do that. Or she's like, okay, Mom has gotten to the point where she's threatening sodomy. I need to get up and do what I've been asked to do.
Her friend... The trick was, when they were both little, whenever I would say, if you don't stop acting like a
fool,
a deranged fool,
yeah,
I'm going to beat your ass. If they didn't stop acting like a fool, I beat their ass.
Yeah.
So I always followed through on everything when they were little, even though it's exhausting. I did it.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. So now that they're older,
you can say the crazy stuff, and they're like, you know,
they're like, fuck.
She's never lied to us before.
Like my former friend Lisa, when she was down to visit, I made a big dinner for everybody.
Yeah, and you don't like to cook.
No, not really.
Like, you cook,
but I don't enjoy it,
despite what people say.
I do cook all the time.
And you're a good cook.
Yeah, I just don't like doing it.
Yeah.
So the kids were all there, and I hollered. I said, "Hey guys, dinner's ready. Come and eat it." Because one of my biggest peeves is when I've taken all the time to cook dinner, and people don't have the decency to come in there and eat it when it's warm.
Yeah.
That. Anyway.
You're like, I could have cooked this fucking meal any time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just going to let it get cold.
Yeah.
I could have cooked it yesterday.
Yeah.
You know.
That's one of my peeves. I get mad just thinking about it. And so Maddie came in. My daughter came in.
She's like, Mom, food's warm.
And her kids didn't come in yet.
Yeah.
And so she hollered at her kids. They didn't come. And I walked in there. I said, if you guys don't get your asses in that kitchen, I said, I'm going to shove every bit of that fucking food up your assholes. By God, they got in there and ate so quick.
Yeah.
And
they're like, this is really delicious food, Jennifer.
So when she went back home, when she went back out of state and took them home, they wouldn't listen to her, and she tried that, and they laughed at her. And she's like, why are you laughing at me? If you worked with Jennifer there, they said, because we think she would actually hold us down.
Yeah. And put mashed potatoes in our rectum.
I don't know how I really have that effect on.
And you know, and I don't
kids like me.
I don't understand why the people in your house won't come eat, like when it's time, because it's not like you're saying, hey, let's sit around the table and eat. Like, no one eats together in your household.
I hate it.
It's like all you have to do is like pause your show, put your phone down, come in here, grab a plate of food, and then just go back to whatever the fuck you were doing. Mm-hmm. I don't understand it. I just don't, like, well, we'll have big dinners at your house, and I'm at the table, like...
You'll be at the table by yourself!
I will! I'm like, I don't understand why no one eats at a goddamn table.
I'll tell you why I don't, and I'll tell you why my daughter doesn't.
Yeah.
When I was growing up as a teenager, the dinner table was when I got grilled.
Yeah.
By my stepdad.
Yeah.
And I hated dinner.
It's like, what do you mean you didn't have a good day at school? What could you have done differently to have a good day at school?
Like, dinner for me as a teenager was getting bitched at all the time. So now my daughter, her dad, being a detective,
Oh, Jesus.
he would pull out a pad of paper and a pen, and he would ask her questions about her day, and he would write down all of her responses.
Like what's like in those police shows where they have the little notebook and like they write down something you said and then they flip a few pages back.
Yeah, like they're cross-checking your answers.
Like, that's what Maddie had to go through.
And so one day, a switch went off in her, and she refused to answer him anymore. And he didn't know what to do. And that's when I started getting phone calls like, I need you to talk to her. I'm like, well, stop being a douche.
Maybe she'll like, maybe just have a normal fucking conversation with your kid instead of cross-examining her. Like,
so that's why she and I don't like...
It's like, I just see Maddie, like, sitting in a chair, and he's got, like, the light on her. It's like, where were you today? School. You dropped me off. Like, I don't understand.
Remember when he started making her chant Hail Marys?
Yeah, like Hail Mary, Mother Grace. And
so if you guys have ever listened to previous podcasts where you've heard how angry and just venomous she is towards Christianity,
that's why.
It's her dad's fault.
Yeah.
Because he tried to have her be Baptist.
Yeah.
They got her baptized and everything. Then all of a sudden one day they decided they were going to be Catholic.
Yeah, we're going to be Catholics now.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
I've never honestly heard of anybody converting to Catholicism. Usually people convert.
Well, and you have to take classes. Like, you do. Like, and then you have to, like, take a test and shit. Like,
I mean,
if you're not born into it, you have to.
So she has some real angry feelings towards Christianity.
It's all his fault. Back to the Hindus.
Everything's his fucking fault.
American Hindu priest Thomas Ashley Farrand. What?
You sound so serious and quiet.
I don't know why. Like, I'm talking like I always talk.
Usually you're louder.
Really?
Yeah. No, fakely.
Maybe it's the COVID. I don't know. But he suggests that mantras have the power to replace unhealthy patterns with positive ones by promoting patience and giving one the ability to see a situation more clearly. And what is with these names? Tenzin Wagwell. Okay, Wang? No. Wang? No. W-A-N-G. It's Wang. Wang, and then Y-A-L. Wangwell?
Wangle?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But as he puts it, no form of speech is more virtuous than the mantra, devotional prayer, and sacred seed syllables. These words and syllables themselves may carry the divine. They can also be very effective in healing illnesses and emotions, strengthening your body's vitality, or minimizing thoughts and confusion. Because the regular chanting of mantras can bring about all the benefits described here, it is thought to be a preventative measure against inappropriate thoughts lodging themselves in the mind.
I was Googling that while you were talking about it.
What?
Sacred seeds, syllables, and words.
I'd say it's probably like this, like maybe Om is a sacred syllable.
Well, it's a Buddhist thing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's different words, singular words to chant while you're meditating.
I'd say each one does something different, reason to use it.
That's cool. That's cool as fuck.
Yeah. You're like I'm gonna find a seed syllable. A sacred seed syllable. SSS.
One time I had bought this Eldon Taylor. He's this really, really cool and good hypnotherapist.
I think you said hitman first.
No, well, you got excited.
I'm like, you know a hitman?
You're like, wait, bitch. You've been holding out on me. No, he's a hypnotherapist, and I had gotten one of his demo hypnotherapy CDs with a book of his I bought. Mm-hmm. And I did the hypnotherapy session. Obviously, I don't remember everything that was said to me in it because I was hypnotized. But I do remember that he said every time from now on the rest of my life, every time I tell myself to relax. See, I just felt my body do it just there.
You're like, oh.
Whenever I tell myself to do that, my whole body just goes.
Yeah. You're like,
And so, guys, if you want to get some hypnotherapy CDs that are off the wall good,
yeah,
Eldon Taylor.
Well, and like, chanting, if it's something that you're not used to doing and, you kind of feel silly doing, there are things on YouTube that, that you can follow along and do. And, because, reading about chants, it's like, oh, what's that one? It was in the movie, Tina Turner.
What's love got to do with it?
Yeah. There was that chant that she would do.
I don't remember that part.
Google it.
Hang on.
Are you paying a bill?
No, I'm trying to... This stupid fucking...
I'm like, are you paying a bill?
My child support card.
Yeah.
I can't...
Is it Chase?
No.
Oh.
It won't let you go to an ATM and pull money out.
It may be set up that way.
So I have to, if I need cash off of it to put into the checking account, I have to go buy something and get cash back multiple times because
that's ridiculous.
It's a pain in the ass. So I'm on here to see if I can transfer it from here.
Well, so since she's doing that, like if you want to go to YouTube like yourselves and just look up like the movie What's Love Got to Do with It, and then like chanting, like there's an example of that in there, and like if you just read those words like in a book, you may not know how they sound and how they're supposed to flow. So I think going onto YouTube and watching those different videos and stuff like that would really tell you what.
I need you to put me on your Wi-Fi.
Why?
Because.
No, but I mean, like, haven't you been on there before?
No.
The password's on the fridge.
What?
It's on a clippy on the fridge. Because,
which one is it here?
It's the 9480.
94.
But being able to like actually hear it happening, it might make more sense and make you feel less.
She does practice Buddhism. Tina Turner.
A thing just popped up on my phone. I didn't know what it was. But it was like share your password.
Oh.
So, but I didn't know what it was, so it disappeared.
God damn it.
So apparently my phone realized your phone was trying to get on the internet and was like, let me help you out, dude. But yeah, if you go online and you actually hear someone doing these chants and the mantras and stuff, and you might not feel as much of an idiot.
Why
could you not
do
find
you
it?
have cookie cutters in the shape of people fucking doggy style hanging in a bag on the front of your fridge?
Okay. I didn't want it to accidentally get broken in my drawer. Is why it's hanging on the fridge. Because like if I go to the trouble of paying money for a cookie cutter of people fucking, I don't want it to be broken accidentally.
So my next question: why did you pay money for that?
When we were originally going to have the Beltane masquerade,
yeah,
I was going to do a whole cakes and ale during the ritual, and I wanted everyone to have a cookie of people fucking because it's Beltane.
I can't argue with that. That makes sense.
and because of fucking COVID-19, nobody got to have fucking cookies. Literally. So, but anyway, guys, I think we'll wrap that up there. Oh, wait a minute.
What?
I'm sharing the password with you.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. It said password not shared. I think it's because maybe it's because I'm airplane mode. But anyway, go online, guys, and, listen to some of these chants so that you know how it's supposed to sound and, like, the cadence and everything. And you won't feel as ridiculous as if you just, like, read it off an article and you're trying to figure out, like, yourself how to do it. So I think that's it. I wanted to do, like, a podcast that was kind of like a little bit on the more scientific side and just show that the scientific community is at least starting to look at the things that we know to be true. So that always excites me. Not that kind of excitement. She gave me a look. You can find us on the internet, featherandbone.net. Guys, I am thinking about doing some changes to that website soon, and I'm going to talk to Rain about that off the podcast.
I'll just irritate you and not help with.
Well, no, there's something else I want to talk to you about that before I do it. But you can also find us on Facebook, Feather and Bone. There's actually a link to the Facebook group on the website, featherandbone.net, if you think that would be easier for you to find it. Remember, it's magic, motherfuckers.